All right, Zach. I said it on Twitter. I said it in my column. I'm going to ask you this question. What just happened?
Oh my goodness. Talk about having to this is inside baseball for journalism, but everything you wrote, just scrap the program, start over.
Right.
What just happened?
What happened?
Baylor, that looked like a completely different Baylor team in the fourth quarter. The second half, really.
Yeah, and I think I asked the question of Blake Shapen in the post game. Is this a glimpse of what y'all can be? I mean, and obviously, he said, yeah. I mean, 29 unanswered to win the game, largest comeback in program history. They played complimentary football with the defense, finally getting some really clutch stops, special teams, big plays.
Right.
And then really it was just as explosive as the offenses looked all year.
Yeah, and I mean, it's Monterey Baldwin had his biggest game of the season, and I think what was it, his third 100-yard game, something like that.
Correct.
170 yards on 7 catches, a touchdown, and man, I know that we've talked a lot, or at least I've talked a lot about kind of that wide receiver room being one of the most talented groups on the team, and I think maybe it was Blake Shapen coming back. Maybe it was facing a team other than Texas, but that group and Monterey Baldwin specifically really, really stood out today and kind of exploded.
Yeah, no doubt. I think Baylor fans have kind of been waiting for that from Monterey. He did have a couple really big games last year. I remember he had a big touchdown run in the Sugar Bowl in 2021. On just a kind of an end around jet sweep type play. And I remember going into last season, it was like, this could be the playmaker. This could be their go-to guy. And it just never really played out that way. I still feel like this could be the playmaker.
Right.
This could be their go-to guy. And beyond that, they really talked highly of Monterey in the post game on just how he's developing as a leader,
right?
Really sort of inspiring the team.
Right. And I mean, it seems like every press conference, that every player availability, we're asking about where does the energy come from, and all signs point to Monterey Baldwin.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
That's.
But he wasn't the only hero, obviously. Caden Jenkins, what a freshman.
Man, I shout out Caden Jenkins. He did, I know the old coach saying is after 3 games, you're no longer a freshman. Well, kind of from the jump, he's looked like a veteran.
Yeah.
He didn't start against Texas State, but he had a pass breakup in that game, but he started the next 2 games. He's played in all 4. And he's a dude, and if the rest of the freshmen can kind of develop like him, I think the future for Baylor is bright, right?
It's hard to pick one play in this game as the biggest play of the game, but his 72-yard fumble return for a touchdown, as big as that momentum swing was in the first half, where Baylor looks like it's driving and can get to within a touchdown, and Dom Richardson, is he down? Is he not down? What's happening? There's a guy running, and he runs for a fumble back for a touchdown. That was a 14-point swing. As big a play as that was, ultimately Caden Jenkins' play was even bigger.
Right.
It's 35-26. UCF is driving. A field goal essentially ices this game. And you get a crazy snap, the ball's on the ground, and the kid is just on it.
And he doesn't fall. He doesn't go down. He picks it up.
He picks it up, and he kind of lost his balance, but he had the wherewithal to keep his footing, and then just took off, and nobody could catch him. And suddenly that was the moment that it was like, delete. We have a game now. It's 35-33. There's 6 minutes to go, and give it up for Baylor for making the plays it had to finish it out.
Yeah, I mean, it just, I know that one of the things that I was one of the things I was writing before the fourth quarter happened really was about the defense and kind of giving up these really big chunk plays. I think in the first half, I know obviously UCF got out to a big lead, but they were averaging like 12 yards of play. They called 18 plays and averaged 12.7 yards of play, 13.3 a run, which is not good. And I think that's, if that continues, that's not a recipe for success. So I think that's something to look out for. But, like you said, credit to Baylor. They made the plays when they needed to. And yeah, good.
So we'll go back to the hotel. We'll try to get some little sleep. Then we'll get on a plane tomorrow, fly back to Texas. And where does this Baylor team go from here, do you think? I mean, it's hard to predict the future, but could this be a turning point?
I know you said beforehand, before the game, that Blake Shapen is not, you don't press the Blake Shapen button and it changes things, but maybe you do. Like, not to
No.
I think that there is definite hope. My optimism is very quickly returning, not that it left for very long, but Texas Tech next week, that's a rivalry game. McLean's going to be up for it, the team's going to be up for it, Tech is going to be up for it. So I don't think it gets any easier, but this is definitely a step in the right direction.
Yeah, and you started 1-3. Now you're 2-3. If you're able to beat Tech next week, you're back at 500 and 2-1 in the Big 12, and everything is sunshine and lollipops again. It's like it's a small world after.
I had to get a Disney reference.
Yes, well, my column is full of them. If you would check those out at wacotrib.com. Zach's got his thoughts, his game story. I've got a column, a notebook, and we'll have lots more to come all next week. So, yeah, thanks for tuning in.
And no DJ Pauly D references, I promise. We're done with
There was one in mind.
Oh, okay.
All right, thanks, y'all.